Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, I am Tim Carter, the founder of Asset Builder, and we're here a little early. And I've done that for a reason because I wanted to make sure on my channel page that this feed is showing up and that I'm moving so that my newsletter subscribers can easily click it and join us. That's the reason I'm here. So if you've got, I'd like to see if the chat's working. If you can chat me a quick message, I would really appreciate it just to make sure. It looks like it's working to me. And I would love to make sure that, there we go. That's it. Hey, how you doing, Louise? I'm doing good. We're going to have a pretty interesting live stream today. We're going to start it at in about 4 minutes. I'm going to try something a little different. I want to just kind of dive deep into a topic. Here where I live in central New Hampshire, it's starting to get a little chilly. We've had a couple of hard frosts, and once it really gets cold, I get a lot of email from people, and they're complaining about, oh, my house is so cold. What can I do? Blah blah blah. Hey there, Steve, the UK. Steve, tell me, are you a newsletter subscriber, or are you? Did you just happen to find it live on YouTube? How did you know about this live stream? I'm just curious. So I have a lot of subscribers to my newsletter who are from all around the world. And, one of my dreams is I would love to meet many of you. I'm not kidding. There's like Phil down in Australia. I'd like to meet. I've known Phil now for 5-10 years. And there's just all kinds of people all around who are on my newsletter list and I've become friends with. And, but I've not seen them. So anyway, okay. So anyway, people get cold, and there's a lot of reasons why your house might be cold. Lots of reasons. Some are easy to fix, some are not. The best news, and I'm going to share it, and pretty deep in a thing. There's a really easy way to solve the problem. So you just have to think, what is the problem? So, and I'll tell a little story when I start the live stream. I was on a live newscast in Chicago on WGN last year. They had a really bad cold spell, and my column runs in the Chicago Tribune, and they know about me, and these fancy dancy morning show news anchors, these two women. I wish I would have recorded. I guess it might be on their website still. I don't know. But the one woman asks me, well, Tim, what's the secret? What's the secret? And I told her what it was. And she just said in live television, she said, well, I could have told people that. But I wanted to say, well, why didn't you? Oh my gosh. So anyway, that's the thing. Typically you're going to get advice from me that's pretty unorthodox. It's, you might hear from all these other people, oh, well, go around, caulk your windows, put up this stuff, blah, blah, like all the same blather I hear every year. And it's like, you guys are missing the ball. They're not really going to the root cause. So anyway, all right, let's see. You're from New Hampshire. Interesting. Did you know the guys from this little house? Well, I have met Bob Vila many, many years ago at trade shows. I also have met Norm Abram. Same thing, back at a trade show many years ago. Norm is the real deal. Norm and I, basically we had identical careers. It's just that he got really famous and I didn't, and that's okay. I can live with that. Bob Vila, a lot of people, he's done a pretty good shell game. I actually told him that in person, and he wasn't too happy. But I mean, if you look back at Bob's, and he's actually closely guarded his resume, to be honest with you. So you need to understand that Bob Vila has done very, very little of the work, that like I did and Norm did. Bob was just a TV host. It was that simple. So anyway, that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He made a name for himself, and a lot of people know Bob. But anyway, that's my extent of meeting people. I haven't met any of the other people on the show. So it's that simple. All right. You know what? We are about 2 seconds away from getting started. Let's go. Okay, good afternoon. I'm Tim Carter, and thanks for joining the live stream. I want to let you know that today's going to be a little different. We're going to dive deep into the topic of why your house is cold. All right, and I'm going to give a bunch of reasons. I'm going to go into a little bit of the theory of heating so that you understand what's really in play, and then how to get warm, how to solve a lot of those issues. But first, today's live stream. You already know who this is going to be, right? Stain Solver. Stain Solver. It's a great, great powdered. I'm trying to shake it in there. It's a powder that you mix with water. It's certified organic. It's an oxygen bleach. It will deep clean anything that's water washable. That's all I got to know. I mean, if you can get something wet with water, I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. You can clean it with Stain Solver. It's that simple. So just go to stainsolver.com. Watch a bunch of the videos. If that doesn't convince you that it works, nothing will. So it's that simple. The chat is working really well. That's good. Here's what I'd like. If you can keep your chat questions today to the topic of what I'm talking about at first, that would be great. In other words, don't ask me about how to fix your concrete. Don't ask me about a roof leak. If we finish a little early, like if we get done at like 20 after 4, I'm happy to answer any of those random questions. But as I talk, if there's something you don't understand, go ahead and chat in a question, and I'll do my best to kind of stop right there and answer it. So don't be bashful. Go ahead and ask. But like I said, try to keep them on topic. I'd appreciate that. Love Stain Solver. Yeah, I use it all the time. It's a great product. It really is. Stain Solver is a fantastic product. And I'll just say this. These little sample bottles, they're very affordable. You don't have to invest a lot of money, and it tells you exactly how to use it. Each one of them, it comes with this really magical little card, and it's got a couple of really great tips on it. But the thing is, it really does work. All right. Okay. Thanks, Roger. Yeah, I didn't think there would be. I'll bring that up really quickly. I've had several people talk to me about getting live captioning working during the stream, and they say they're hearing impaired and they can't hear me. Well, here's the good news. As soon as the live stream is over, YouTube processes the video, and they have artificial intelligence software that automatically close captions what I'm saying. But doing it live while I'm doing it, that's a stretch. I mean, I think there is software out there that does it, but on this interface that I use, I haven't seen it. So if you are hearing impaired, I'm sorry about that. My hearing's not the best, but I can still hear pretty well. But just, bear with me, or maybe watch the replay, in 45 minutes, and you'll see the closed captions. Okay, let's get started. Why is your house cold? Well, let's kind of run down the major reasons. I mean, the big ones, right? There could be a lot of reasons, but the first one is usually it's just not insulated that well. All right, so that makes sense. I mean, imagine if you walked into a big steel building, maybe it's a barn on a farm, or just an airplane hangar that's not insulated, and it's a cold winter day. It's going to be pretty cold inside that steel building. Maybe your outdoor shed. You typically don't insulate sheds. And yeah, okay, KA, I'm gonna help you out here. Yep, we're gonna just pay attention, and you're going to learn a lot, I think. All right, so lack of insulation. You already know that if you insulate something really, really well, you slow down the transfer of heat, and that's all that insulation does. That's the only job it's supposed to serve. Is insulation slows the transfer of heat. It doesn't stop it, but it slows it down. If you really want to stop a lot of heat transfer, you would use a radiant barrier. All right, that's why you see up in space the satellites, the astronauts. They have those spacesuits on, and they're very reflective. Even the gloves. You've ever thought about it? Think about the gloves that astronauts wear. So it's really, really cold up in space, and so they think, how come their fingers aren't frostbitten? All right. Or vice versa, when they're standing in the sun, like up on the moon, they can get really hot. They can overheat. Okay, so the reason why is they have different layers of radiant barriers inside their gloves and their spacesuits as well. So, but radiant barriers, here's the problem with radiant barriers in your home. If a radiant barrier gets dusty or dirty, which they do just by being there, they lose their effectiveness. Okay, so don't count on a radiant barrier. I mean, if you have the ability to keep a radiant barrier clean, awesome, great, that's wonderful, good news for you. Okay, air leaks. Air leaks is a big one. All right, so common sense would tell you if you left a front door open or you left a window open, you're going to know very quickly, wow, it's really cold in here. Geez, well, Pete, you can feel the draft, whatever. But the problem is you could have a lot of small air leaks, and just about every home has them. It's really hard to stop them, but it can be done. It takes a lot of really good detailing, but they're not easy to solve on the outside. Once a house is built, that's where you sometimes hear all this blather advice year after year. Caulk cracks on the outside of the house. Well, guess what? Some people caulk cracks on the outside of a house that shouldn't be caulked. So we could do a whole live stream about that, about caulking. Yes, here's Ando. My mom's house is cold and you can feel it from the knees down. Yeah, house is on a concrete slab. Yeah, okay, yeah. Just pay attention and you're going to get a lot of advice. Okay, so air leaks, big issue. So, windows, really poorly made windows, they can leak a lot of air around them. That's why years ago, before we had insulated glass, the storm window business was huge. Early in my career, back in the 1970s, I used to put in a lot of storm windows. Insulated glass was just being developed back then. So that's why you now also see these kits you can buy from 3M, these clear ultra plastic kits that you can put over your window around the trim in the wintertime. Use a hair dryer, make it expand, and then that'll help stop air leaks. But it's kind of wasteful because in the spring, you take that down, throw the stuff away, it goes into the landfill, and then the next year you start back over again. That's really good news for 3M, but not so much for your pocketbook. Okay, so air leaks. This one is kind of a smaller one, but it's a contributing factor. If you have forced air heat, and a lot of people do, your furnace filter may be clogged. Okay, so we call them rock catchers, the traditional filters, those really coarse fiberglass ones, they can get clogged with just dirt and dog hair and cat hair and who knows what, candy wrappers, whatever. And if they're really, really clogged, what can happen is the furnace, as the squirrel cage fan is trying to push heated air through the house. In other words, let's say that it's rated for 1,800 cubic feet a minute that it was designed to deliver, and the filter's clogged, it might only be delivering 1,200 cubic feet. I mean, you're missing out on 30% of the heat that the furnace is creating, but it's not going anywhere. So you've got to keep the filters clean. Here's the one that is really common, and it's really hard to fix. Unfortunately, it really is. It's very expensive. So the duct system in your home could have been designed improperly. I mean, it just wasn't put in right. So, and you're not having enough static pressure at the end of the line. So here's the best way to explain static pressure and how your air ducts should be designed and how they should look. And if you have an open basement where you can actually see your ductworks, or if you go out to a restaurant and one of the places where you can actually look up in the ceiling and you can see the big round ducts, with the branches coming off, and it's delivering air down below to you. Pay attention. I mean, you've probably never looked at it and you're not really paying attention, but now you are after you hear what I'm going to tell you. So the air duct system that comes off your furnace should match exactly the way your vascular system is in your body. All right. So what does that mean? So I'm not a doctor. I've never taken apart a human body. I hope I never have to. But the main blood vessels that come out of your heart, the arteries, I'm just guessing it could be as big as my thumb. All right. That could be the diameter of the blood vessel right in my heart. Maybe a little smaller, maybe as big as my finger. I don't know. If you're a heart surgeon and you're watching, let us know. All right. So, but How big do you think the blood vessels are at the tip of my finger? Seriously, how big do you think they are? Um, maybe, I don't know, maybe as big as a toothpick, like the tip of a toothpick. They're much smaller. That's all you need to know. So as the blood vessels, as they get farther away from your heart, up to your head, down to your fingers, down to your toes, the blood vessels get smaller. All right. And that's why the blood in a healthy human being, the blood pressure around all the points in your body is equal. That's why they can put the blood pressure cuff on your wrist or your arm, and they can get a blood pressure reading, and that's really the same as what it would be as if they could take the pressure at your heart. All right, plus or minus a little bit. So the trouble is, and here's why it has to be that way. So your furnace, when that squirrel cage fan is turning, it can only create so much energy every minute or every second. And as that air pushes out of the furnace on its way through your home, here's what happens. As you take a branch off the main trunk line to go to the first room, now you've taken some of the energy that's now pushing the air. So if you keep that main duct the same size all the way down through your basement, as you take branches off, there's not that much energy left in the air that's in the duct because it's going sideways instead of frontwards, and it's having a hard time. It's having a hard time pushing the air, through the rest of the ductwork. So that's why the last room has got hardly any air coming out of the duct. All right, if your system is installed improperly, if it's not designed right, so you have to make sure that the main duct keeps getting smaller until it finally gets down to the last room. So that's called static pressure. And there's ways to measure it. Heating and air conditioning contractors can take a measurement at the furnace. They know what it should be at the last room. And then people say, well, can I buy an induct fan? Well, you can, but they don't work as well as you think they might. So static pressure is often a big contributing cause. And then just kind of common sense things. For example, my sister lived in a house where two of the bedrooms, actually, two and a half of the bedrooms were over their garage. And they had a lower level garage, and it really wasn't insulated that well. And the garage would get cold in the wintertime. I mean, the garage might be 40 degrees. So here, the ducts, for those three bedrooms were right along the beam that's in this garage, and they had drywalled over them, but they had never insulated them. And I think there are tens of thousands of houses like this. So if you're going to build a home and you're putting your ductwork in a place that's not heated, you've got to insulate that ductwork. It's that simple. So that's those are the big causes. All right. So I hope they make sense to you. Now the theory. Let's talk about the theory a little bit. You have to understand this. So everybody's house, or most houses, are different sizes. You may live in a tiny 2-bedroom home, and then 5 miles away is somebody who lives in a 5-bedroom home with giant great rooms, and their house is 10,000 square feet, and you've got this small, very modest, 1,600 square foot home. All right, so if you put their furnace in your home, you're going to be walking around your house in a bathing suit. All right, vice versa. If you put your furnace in their home, they're going to be cold because your tiny furnace can't create enough heat to satisfy the BTU heat loss that's happening every hour. And that's how it's measured. So in other words, we can do all kinds of calculations. You can go to websites online. You can just type this into, Google or DuckDuckGo. Just type in heat loss calculator. And, and you can see that you can actually do it for your own home. So that's how we size furnaces. So that's really kind of another cause. Like, it's pretty rare, but is your furnace size too small? Now get this. So back in Cincinnati, there were, back in the big boom of building back in the 70s, there were these two discount builders. They were nationwide. I think it was called Crest Homes and the other one were Ryan Homes. And these were big builders. I don't know how many units they build a year. It could be 500, 1,000 a year. I mean, but on a subdivision that they created, they may only have 3 different designs, all right? 3 houses. And so you would buy Model A, Model B, or Model C. That's it. And you're not going to change anything in it. Well, guess what? You could put 2 Model A houses. They're built identically. Everything in them is identical. You could put one at one part of the street, put one at the other end of the street, and one of them would be colder in the winter than the other. And so you're thinking, what the heck's going on? Why is that? Well, the actual compass direction that your house faces, like the front of your house or the back of your house, whether it faces north, east, south, west, it makes a difference, all right? Especially with glass coming in for solar gain in the winter. And more importantly, in the summer, some of those houses that have a lot of glass and the glass faces west, they need a lot more air conditioning. Okay, so that gets a little complex, but the point I'm trying to make is a lot of those heating contractors that put the furnaces in the Creston Ryan homes, they just put the same furnace in. They had done the heat loss calculation once. They didn't care which way it faced. They didn't care about some of those things. So you may live in a house like that. So you have to understand that your furnace is sized a lot like the shoes that you wear or the clothes that you wear. They come in different sizes, and they must be matched to the not to the size of your house, but to the BTU heat loss per hour. All right, so that can be calculated. All right. Now, how do we? Let's see if we got a question here. Mike, hey, Mike, how you doing? Do they have modulating blowers that will speed up if you need more heated air? That's a great question. That's a really great question. So Mike's wondering, so like I have a modulating boiler in my home here in New Hampshire, but I have a radiant heating system. So as more zones call for heat, my boiler fan runs faster. All right. So, but that's typically an exhaust fan that's blowing the exhaust out. So, Mike, I would think that there's a possibility, but really, if you were just creating the same amount of heat, but making the fan blow it faster, that really wouldn't deliver more heat. So that's a thermodynamic question. I think that the burner would have to be creating more heat if the fan's going to increase in speed too. But I'm not an HVAC expert to that degree. All right, so I don't. That's a really great question. I'm actually going to look into that one. BTU heat loss per hour. Is that something we can figure out? Yes, you can figure it out yourself. Like I just said, go online, go to DuckDuckGo and type in heat loss calculator. And there are several websites that march you through the process of how to do it. It's going to take you several hours to do. It's not easy, but you can do it. You can do it yourself. All right. So now let's talk about the problem. So here's where everybody, I think, goes off the rails. So what's the problem? All right. What's the problem? Think about it. The problem was, and that's the title of this live stream today, why are you cold in your house? In other words, I don't care that the couch is cold. I don't care so much that the dog or the cat's cold. They've got fur. All right. I don't care that that anything else in the house is cold. I'm cold. My body's cold. All right. So I know you're going to shake your head as soon as I say this. All right. But the problem is this simple. You need to wear more clothes. That's what I told that news anchor in Chicago last year. She didn't like that answer. So I know this sounds nuts. In the wintertime here at my own home, even though my home's comfortable, it's really been designed well. I didn't build the house I'm in, but I have to say that the heating contractor did a pretty good job, except the master bathroom. He goofed up there, but I fixed that. And by the way, what I did in my own master bathroom, they only put a couple of stupid wall registers in, these radiant heat radiators in on the walls. And they had this excellent opportunity to put in the same loop, heat transfer plates under the floor so that the tile floor would be nice and warm. Well, I was able to do it in part of the bathroom, the part that really mattered. And it's just luxurious in the wintertime to walk on the floor. The floor in that part of the bathroom is like 82 degrees. So, and plus our master bathroom faces north and it's got 3 walls that have windows on it. It's like these guys goofed up in the master bathroom. Every other room's fine. Okay. So, but even though it's that way, I wear more clothes. Like, for example, it's not uncommon for me to wear long underwear in the wintertime inside the home. Um, I'm I'm so comfortable. I'll wear a fleece. I prefer gray ones. If you're going to buy me one, not like green, gray if you're going to do it, or blue. Anyway, um, you you just need to wear more clothes. And if you really want to stay warm, you wear a hat. I know this sounds nuts. Sometimes my wife thinks I'm crazy. I really am not. Been married 47 years, but I'll wear a knit hat, like you see people wear just those regular knit hats. And I'm telling you what, you'd be surprised how much heat you lose through your head. And if your head gets cold, you're going to be cold. So I know it sounds nuts. Just wear more clothes. Just try that. Do me a favor. Just wear more clothes and watch what happens. You're going to go, wow, I am warmer. My kids, when they were growing up, my oldest daughter, in the wintertime, would run around the house in shorts and a thin t-shirt, no socks on. And she would complain that she was cold, when she walked by, a window or a door. Well, no kidding. Um, because of the convection currents that are coming off, those French doors. And that's a whole nother live stream about, why you're cold near outside walls. So we got enough time. Let's see where we're at 20. We can cover that really quickly. So if you've ever noticed, if you've got big expanses of glass and it's cold outside, and you go near one of those glass doors or like a picture window, and you sit there or you put your hand at the bottom, you'll feel a breeze and it'll be cold. So you'll think, wow, I've got an air leak. There's air leaking around that window. No, 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 no. That's not what's happening. So if you were to take a infrared camera and aim it at the center of the glass temperature is probably going to measure 40 or 50 degrees. All right, on a cold day, a really cold day. I'm talking a temperature, outside temperature near zero, or in the teens, single digits. Okay, so here you've got the air in your home, that the air inside your house, it goes up, it touches the cold 50-degree glass, even though it's insulated glass. I mean, in other words, the paint on the inside is 50, the paint on the outside is 0. All right, you got that? In other words, the two pieces of glass, they're different temperatures. Whatever it is outside air temperature, that's what the temperature is of the outside glass in almost all cases. Okay, so now the air in your home touches that 50-degree glass. It immediately chills to 50 degrees. And what does cold air do? Well, it drops, and hot air does what? Hot air goes up. So all of a sudden, you have this waterfall. If you could actually see the air, you would see this air just flowing down the glass and hitting the ground. And so, who was it? Oh, here we go. And Adano Paramo, you said my mom's house is cold, and you can feel it from the knees down. Exactly. You're feeling it from the knees down, especially if you're walking around the house with capri pants on, or if your ankles are exposed and you've got exposed skin, you're feeling those convection currents of that cold air that's actually flowing off the outside walls. All right, so that's why wear more clothes, wear long underwear. You're not going to feel that anymore. You're going to be warm, and that's the goal, right? It's just that you want to be warm. We don't care about the cat and the dog. We don't care about the fish in the fish bowl. They're going to be okay. It's 70 degrees or 65 in the house. They're not going to die. But you don't want to be chilly, all right? So just wear more clothes. Simple as that. Let's see. That's basically it. I mean, that's really it's really that simple. Now, how about fixing all the other things? We'll go back to the top of the list. Okay. So if you don't have insulation or you've got poor insulation, sure, you can add more attic insulation. All right. Just make sure you go back to my website, read all my insulation columns. Don't block, the vents. Don't have that insulation go up against the bottom of the roof sheathing. Air leaks. Well, sure. On the inside of your home, if you can feel air coming around some of your wood trim, sure, you can caulk the inside. And that's how I would stop air leaks around windows and doors. I would try to stop them inside unless you have gaping cracks on the outside. We already talked about the filters. All right. How hard is that? Just change the filter. All right. Make sure the filters are clean. It's as far as the wrong size furnace. Well, you won't be able to know that until you do your BTU heat loss calculation. And static pressure, that's the hardest one of all to fix, because if you want to have the ductwork ripped out and put, I mean, that's thousands of dollars to do that. But that's why instead of spending all that money, if you just put more clothes on, you're going to be warm. And now here's the big payoff. All right. And I know you're shaking your head, but I promise me, please just try this. I want you to try it. Just try it for a few days and you'll see the difference. If you put more clothes on in the wintertime, and I mean, even sleep with more clothes on, or and throw an extra blanket on the bed, whatever it takes, you can actually put your thermostat down 4 or 5 or 6 degrees, and you're still going to be comfortable. I'm not saying you can put your thermostat down to 55. That's pretty chilly inside the house. That's really chilly. But instead of having your thermostat at 75, trying to fight all these defects in the house, you might be able to set it to 70 or 68, wear more clothes, and you'll be comfortable. All right. And you will save money on your fuel. All right. So there's no doubt about it. If you have your thermostat set at 68 instead of 75, you're going to save money. And finally, the programmable thermostats, fantastic ideas. You absolutely should invest the money in a programmable thermostat, because at nighttime, why would you want to have your house at the furnace running all that time while you're asleep when you can stay perfectly warm by just throwing an extra blanket on the bed? Are you crazy? So the programmable thermostats, fantastic inventions. You're crazy if you don't have one. All right, let's see. Floor between here, David said, floor between basement and first floor is cold. Of course it is, because isn't exactly. So no, you don't need to insulate the basement ceiling because of the floor being cold. Think of what's going on down there. In other words, if you just wore wool socks, or I can't imagine you're laying on the floor, but I'm just saying that there's not that much of a heat temperature difference between the first floor and underneath the floor, that the insulation is going to make much difference. Okay, so that one I wouldn't insulate that. Closing one door on the lower floor altered the airflow, and I got better temps throughout the house. Correct. You can try really crude methods of trying to correct static air pressure. You could try to balance the systems, by choking off one of the registers in one of the first rooms. There's all kinds of meds you can try, but it's not always going to work. Mike says clean boilers annually as the high efficiency units now tired. Yeah, that's exactly right. So you want to make sure modern equipment is working properly. All these 97% efficient furnaces, 97% efficient boilers, all of that. You want to make sure they're working great. Okay. Well, I've been on almost 30 minutes. Do you have any regular questions? Nothing to do with heater, even air conditioning. Happy to answer them here at the end of the live stream. I hope you liked today's staying on just one topic. I'm going to try to do more of it. I think it's really worthwhile. Let's see here. I've got some options. I'm learning about this. I've got some really interesting features on the chat thing for me. So if people are, this is really kind of interesting. I should take a screenshot. But me as the moderator, if somebody is chatting and being naughty and just being bad, I can hide them. I can put them in timeouts like in kindergarten. Oh my goodness. Anyway, all right. So no other questions. I can see that. I had a lot of fun. I hope you were able to take away something that may make you more comfortable and save you some money. And I'll absolutely be doing another live stream tomorrow. I'm going to do them now Monday through Friday, and we're going to have more fun each day. And once again, I'm open to all your suggestions. Just please go to the website, find the Ask Tim page, and tell me what you would like to hear about, and I'll do my best to cover that topic. And finally, let's thank Stain Solver again. Stain Solver, you're the best. Thanks for sponsoring today's live stream. So Stain Solver, certified organic oxygen bleach, really great product. All right, last call. My daughter My youngest daughter worked at El Bate. It's the oldest. She was a bartender. It's the oldest bar, I think, in the Western Hemisphere in Old San Juan, Puerto Rico. And it's really kind of interesting. The bars there, I think, if I may have this wrong, up until 6:30 in the morning. I think that's when they close, either 6:30 or 7 in the morning. Whereas here in the States, I think, well, at least back in Ohio, they closed at 2 o'clock or 2:30 in the morning. So I just can't imagine people drinking all night long till sunrise, but they do in Puerto Rico. All right. So any other last call questions here? I don't see anything. So try headphones. They work great. I guess that's to keep your ears warm. All right. I appreciate you tuning in today, and I will be here tomorrow, the good Lord willing. And thanks so much. And once again, if you have any suggestions, topics you want covered, just send them to me via the Ask the Builder website. Just go to the Ask Tim page and let me know what you want to do. So, all right. Thanks so much. And thanks so much for tuning in, and send your comments. I want to make these live streams as good as I can. I really appreciate it.